And here we are again. For some of you, it may be your first time. We've been here many times, and it never gets easy. It never gets easier. We have lost a great soul. Every soul that comes to our dojo has not just a beginning date, has a day that they leave. Sometimes leave our world. That is why we have to always appreciate and value every special, unique soul we come across that we train with. Because each and every one of them, each and every one of you are extraordinary, special, and unique. Throughout all of time, there's never been anyone quite like you. And once you're gone, there won't be another. So when you look around, the people you train with, the people in your life, understand that no soul escapes its liberation from the body. Let us always remember all the souls that we've known and be conscious of those we have not known. Each and every one of them are special. But let their departure not be a pressing down on our hearts and spirits. Let it be a revitalization. Let it be a lifting up, that each and every one of you live even better, even stronger, be even happier, more adventurous, and more joyous for those who are no longer here. Keep their spirit alive by living your absolute best and enjoying every moment of it, so that when you leave this world, people cry, but also laugh with joy, having known you. So I know a few want to say a few things.
Hi. So, just have a couple of memories. of Elorie that I wanted to share. Some of you might have remembered how afraid Elorie was of testing. She was mortified by it. Right from the start, her very first test as a white belt going to yellow, she clearly was shaken by it. And I often wondered about this, since she never shied away from challenging herself. She's had several higher education degrees. I believe she was working on a doctorate. She might have actually completed it. And did you know that she was a competitive bodybuilder? One day, she comes into the dojang on a Saturday morning and she opens up this rolled up poster. And there she was as a young woman in a bikini, all oiled up. It was stunning. And she was a public school teacher. She got out there and dealt with high school students, and that's a test every day. Those students must have really loved her, because there's a sea of posts from them on Facebook celebrating her life and all she meant to them. Perhaps because she was such a great teacher, she was also a great student. She was a Saturday morning regular, and she always showed her appreciation after each class, repeating what she learned in the dressing room and about how much she appreciated it. But, you know, after hearing of her death, I went onto Facebook, and I don't normally go to Facebook, and there were all of her messages to me after class. Nell, I truly appreciate you and your talents. The informal class was very important to me. Thank you again. Thank you, Elorie Tate. I truly appreciate the sword form practice today, Nell. I am very grateful and much more confident because of your teaching. You were very patient with Maga and I. Thank you, Elle. Nell, thank you for working with me this morning at the dojang. It was very helpful and very informative. I learned a great deal. Thank you once again. So how amazing it was to get this love from a fellow mat warrior. And, you know, I still have a painting she gave me one Christmas, and she was just emoted her feelings and her appreciation for everything she learned. And she was clearly very clearly a learner as well as a teacher. So back to Hapkido and testing. She just kept at it. She kept working on it. She kept doing it. She kept coming to her classes, and she got her black belt. And this was a person that worked through those feelings and those emotions. And she was such determination and so dedicated and disciplined. But my favorite memory of Elorie is at the 2013 Pacific Street block party. And a lot of those pictures we just saw were from that block party. Amethyst, her daughter, was with her. And after she did her demo, the two of them they had their fold-up chairs, their lounge chairs with them. They parked out in front of our garage, and they got comfortable, and they just took in that block party, and they were sipping their shandies and just had a great time, and they were so relaxed. And I think that was her thing. She loved to be with her daughter. She loved to be with her community. I think she loved our community, and she really knew how to relax and have a good time. So Elorie, there was nobody like you. You were unique and walked to your own drummer. You made everyone who worked with you a better person, and I'm so happy to have had you as a friend, and I will miss you so.
Thank you so much, Nell. Now I'm going to spotlight Tim Johnson, who had to relocate out of New York City, but is still part of our martial arts family. And so, there you go.
Hi, thank you. Sorry, I've got some interruptions here. It's wonderful to be together with you all, even though it's over a link. I hope everyone's good. I just wrote an email. I hope that Elorie, I'll just read it out quickly. I was so sorry to hear of Elorie's passing. I very much remember training with her, often at the 7 a.m. class when the dojang was across Atlantic from where it is now. In winter, it was always so dark and cold on those mornings, which only made Elorie's smile and sense of humour stand out even more. I found there are always people in the WMAC family who we're glad to be paired with, even while we strive to train with everyone in an equal manner, Elorie was definitely one of those people for me. Whenever we'd be doing kick drills and rotating partners in 2 lines, there'd always be that momentary extra smile from Elorie, despite the sweat and tiredness, that jokingly said, "Oh, you again." And it really lifted my spirits. I left the school in 2017 for Chicago, but still train via the app and also with my 4-year-old live now too. I think of you all a great deal, Sabinim's teaching and training partners like Elorie especially. I am grateful that I was able to train with her and continue to be inspired by her journey to black belt from those curled early mornings together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tim.
So a lot of us have been here for a long time. Some of us starting when we were very young, not me, but some of us. And what I think you don't appreciate when people are starting young, how difficult it is to do Hapkido, especially as an older person. So Elorie, to me, someone who joined, I'm trying to get how old, I think she was in her 50s when she joined. And I feel like it was so inspirational to me to see someone who came in starting this very, very complex style in her 50s. And she came from, that bodybuilding background. So she had that discipline. But when you think about it, bodybuilding is extremely yang. It's very linear. So Hapkido, which is very, so much yin built in and very kind of watery and circular, it's kind of like the opposite. So the fact that Elorie threw herself like 1000% had made me so inspired by her, honestly. And so she was so extraordinary to me because you could tell the moves weren't natural to her, but she just kept at it. She never stopped. And for me, it was I know this is such a sad day, but when Black Panther came out and the Woman Warriors, I think most of you saw it. So the Woman Warriors in it, called the Dora Milaje, with the bald head. I was like, oh, we have our own woman warrior at the dojang. And I always thought of Elorie when I saw the super fierce, they were the female bodyguards to the king in Black Panther. And to me, Elorie embodied just everything there was about being fierce, unstoppable, loving, kind. She was so great to me about Liliana because she saw me, she has her beloved daughter, her only daughter, Amethyst, and I only have one daughter, Liliana, and she was always so gracious and funny and sweet, and so it's not really real, I think, to a lot of us, but I think, when I shared with someone in that, though they may be physically gone, their spirit will always be with us, and I think in the sharing of stories is how we keep the spirit of people alive. So, I think we continue to share stories, little remembrances of her, and I think that's all I have to say. So, Elorie, you will always be here. Your spirit is interwoven at the dojang, and you've left your mark and made your, just your presence known to so many of us, and you've inspired us. So, thank you.
Good Sunday, everyone. As you know, I'm talking to you from France, so it's night over there already. Nevertheless, I was shocked to learn about Elorie's passing. We spent years training together. She was lively and okay. I have a fun fact that not everybody may know about her. She was a bodybuilder. She was built like Schwarzenegger. She actually competed in bodybuilding when she was in her 20s and 30s and 40s. And I saw a picture of her. At that time, that was a female Schwarzenegger. She was built. It was like, I never dreamed of being that fit. So, and she left, she abandoned the competition game because of the birth of her daughter, and she fully committed to being a parent. And obviously she was successful. Another fun fact sort of about Elorie, she's among the students who has been able to apply her techniques, the techniques she learned in the dojo on the mat, in the street, against a real opponent, against someone who assaulted her in a random way, and she responded in a kind that she for those who know outside sweeps, number 10 is a counter sweep. So someone, a random stranger, want to take was crossing her in the stairway, in the subway, and for some reason this guy decided he had the right of way and decided to push his way through and try to grab her and sweep her in the stairs. Yeah. So, and the guy obviously did not have a good technique at it, so she countered it. She did a zigzag counter sweep. The guy was off balance. She swept him like no tomorrow. The guy fell on the stairs. I'm like hurting himself, like it was not even funny. And of course, ran away like a chicken. And she kept cool. Her daughter was with her at that time, and she's like, "Mom, what you just do?" He's like, "A guy tried to sweep me. I swung back. This is it. End of the story. No, like, okay, let's resume conversation. It's not it." So that was the kind of spirit she had. She really was committed and kind at the same time. And like, you would not suspect that deadly forces would come out of this gentle lady, but they could, definitely. So, she wanted to leave a legacy. She wanted to create a business. She wanted to create a new item to make a revolution on the cleaning business. I don't think she succeeded at it. She told me, "I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave something that people remember." And she was working her way to this business venture that I think never took off. But what she didn't realize is she left a legacy, not the one she expected or she wanted. She did not realize that she already left a legacy at Long Island University. She left a legacy as a teacher, and then she left a legacy as a student, martial arts student. So we may not be who we think we are. We are a lot for people. We are what we are for people. It's not to us to decide what we are. And Elorie was definitely bigger and greater than she ever thought she was, at least for us. So thank you, Elorie.
And thank you, George, all the way from France. So we want to open it up if there's anyone who has a few words that they want to share, and then I'm going to turn it over to Dominique. So is there anyone, you can raise your hand or wave your hand in the camera. Okay, Shira. Your black belt, Shira. Oh, there you go.
Well, I just want to say, to Betty's point about age and how it impacts training. So I started training when I was very little, I was 10. And, I didn't always understand what one of the downsides of youth is, that you don't understand the fact that older people or people with different bodies experience training differently. It took me a while to understand that. But I remember one particular experience with Elorie when we were training together and we were sparring, and her daughter Amethyst was there. And it was a pretty intense sparring match because Elorie she's a scary opponent. And it didn't ever occur to me to stop myself or limit my own approach to sparring with her, because she, just exuded fierceness and, the capacity to hurt me. So I was ready to defend myself and spar, 100%. And afterwards, she introduced me to her daughter, and her daughter said, you're the one that was going really hard with my mom. And I was like, well, I never would have thought to not go hard with her. And I think that's just something that, when I heard about her passing, I just wish that I would have communicated to her more, what her presence meant to me, and it will teach me to be more communicative and proactive about appreciating everyone who teaches me so much at the dojo. And my heart really goes out to her daughter, how her are, and I know that she will continue to remain a blessing and a teacher for all of us.
Thank you, Shira.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your memories of Elorie. She is a very special student, a very special person. The picture of her when she was a bodybuilder, that was a great moment to see. Of course, you could see everyone was surprised that she was a competitive bodybuilder. And I think competitiveness kind of describes her spirit, her fighting spirit. She used to come to my Wednesday morning class, and one of the things that surprised me about Elorie was when we did hand techniques, apparently she took boxing up also. She was a boxing enthusiast, because she has some very good hands. And one of the things I miss is that every morning, sometimes she used to put up some training videos on Facebook of her going through her boxing her techniques. So she was very competitive in that sense, and she was a very fierce and a loyal student, and I'm gonna miss her, and I'm appreciative of the time that we was able to spend with her. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, John.
Elorie.
I was really sad to hear about Elorie, because for me, she and I took a class like every Saturday morning with her, and now like the first few years of my training, and it was really like the time period where I was going to learn whether or not I would really stay with this. And so for me, she was just, I mean, I'm hearing how fierce she is, and that is true, but she was also so lovable, and she was so funny. Like I keep, like, I just remember her laugh and her smile and how important that was for me. And once I ran into her like on a crosswalk in Brooklyn, and it was just like this great reunion, even though we trained like a few days before or something. And there was another time I ran into her and I hadn't seen her for a year, and it was, I didn't know her deeply, but I was wondering if I should share this, but it's always stuck in my head. It was such a funny moment. I think it was a Saturday morning after class, and Sabaman had just given her, I think, the certificate for her black belt, maybe. It had come in the mail, and she showed me, and she held it to her heart, and she teared up, and she said, "You have no idea how hard I worked for this." And she was just so happy. And then I don't remember the segue, but I remember like where the conversation went, and somehow it turned into her laughing and saying something about how Obama was so attractive. She's like, but you wouldn't understand about that. And I was like, well, maybe.
Much longer.
I'm terribly sorry. Was that rude? I'm sorry.
What?
Okay.
That's funny.
Are you? I really don't know. I really don't know what's appropriate. I'm sorry. But it was a special moment for me. You know, I was just like, I love this woman. I don't know her that well, but anyway, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jen. Okay, hold on one second.
The last time I spoke to Elorie was 3 years ago. And the first time I met her was when the Dojangs combined together. And I just remember she used to always sit on the bench after class and just observes everyone. And she was always so hard on herself, but always modest and willing to tell everyone else how well they were doing and how well they looked on the mat. Elorie, she was, though she was like 3 times my age, she never felt like she was. She was always very youthful, energetic, spunky. No, some of you know she had a mouth on her. She wasn't always that sweet. And I really gonna miss her. She was a combination of a mother and a sister to me, and I always admire the relationship she had with her daughter. And I'm gonna miss her. Sorry. That's all I have.
Thank you, Kendra. Really glad that you were able to share.
I actually went through probably 50,000 pictures last night, and I found these were the best ones, and I think a bunch of them at the beginning are mine. And I wanted to point out that it was so great you shared that story, Shira, because, you know, I have a picture of Shira with her, and hearing that, it just proves to me again how fierce a warrior she was. But I wanted to share that I have a picture of her with Shira, who was one of our toughest sparrers. So when she says she was a little bit scared of that, that says a lot about Elorie, who she was as a warrior. And also I have a picture, I think there was one of her and Craig, right? Craig Hendrickson. Yeah. So Craig is a former professional football player, like I think 6'5", 6'6". And you can see the determination in her eyes. And it's just like, that says so much about who she was, just a rock and a warrior and never give up, and really exemplifies like a true black belt. And just want to share that behind the scenes, that it's funny that I pulled those pictures of her with some of the biggest and toughest people at the touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Chumson and Betty.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Sangi, for putting this together. I think it was a great moment. It's giving us a chance to express what Elorie meant to us. I met Elorie when she was a white belt. And the first time I saw her, the first thing that came to mind was Gabriella. Because I was like, wow, Gabriella left, and now we have another version of her. And her and Elorie had very similar qualities in terms of straightforwardness, right down to the idea they want to express, and they cut no corners. And they took life very, very seriously. They loved life. And as I got to know Elorie over time, she was, the first thing that came to mind was when she tested for her red belt. And actually Bodan. And Sabadam did not give her belt. She was upset. And I went out to dinner with her and Stephanie. And she went through a very philosophical process of what went wrong. And she's like, okay, I'm going to go back to the drawing board. I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to do better. And when she got her black belt, she brought that back to me again. And she said, you know, that moment was a moment that made me realize that World Martial Arts Center is an excellent place, and that Sabadin takes no less than the best that we can give. And at that moment, I didn't give it my best, but this black belt is a representation of the journey that I went through, and how the ups and the downs and the tears that she experienced. And she was very, very proud of that accomplishment. She said that it was one of her greatest accomplishments. And as a result, she had the desire to go back to school, especially as George mentioned, so she can continue her studies. So Elorie is and forever will be a great person in our community. And she embodies so much of that body, mind, and spirit that we train for constantly over and over again. I was looking for a poem to read, and every time I looked for it, something kept coming back. And it's just a couple of lines, but it is so appropriate for this moment. And it's a short poem by a reverend, because the other thing is Elorie was extremely spiritual. She truly believes there was a higher force, and that one day she has to return there. And she embraced that. She didn't have any reservations. When the time comes, the time comes. So this really exemplified this moment right now. It's called Instructions. And I'm only going to read the first paragraph. When I have moved beyond you in the adventures of life, gather in some pleasant place, and there remember me with spoken words, old and new. Let a tear fall if you will, but let a smile come quickly, for I have loved the laughter of life. And I always remember her laughter. When she laughs, she fills up the room, and it was so contagious. And then she always had that victory laugh when she accomplished something. She runs around the school, and she gets a high five from everyone, and she knows she's accomplished. She loved life. And I'm truly, truly blessed to be in this community where we can actually take a member and remember them, and take a moment in times of this experiencing that we're having right now within the last year, and go outside of ourselves and say, hey, someone who is very much a great member of our community should be recognized. And it's beautiful to see that we actually took the moment to celebrate her life. And to you all, I say thank you.
Thank you so much, Tristan and Dominique.
Those of you who understand Kemetic philosophy, Elorie is not gone. The soul will be with us for at least 40 days. You can speak with her. You can feel her. You can invite her to be with you. Let's remember not only who she was, who she is, but also what was important to her. And let's keep in mind that the most important thing in the world for her was her daughter. So as a community, we should always be there for her daughter the same way we would be there for Elorie. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being. Thank you for caring. And if you like, actually, Sunny did an amazing meditation last Thursday. It's actually on the YouTube page, our YouTube page, World Martial Arts Center Happykicks, under meditation. It's called The Cycle of Life. And I think you actually mentioned her, right? Also, yes. Yes, it's a great meditation. You get a chance, check that out. And going forward, It is a cycle of life. And death will always cause us to take a closer look at life. To think about our days, our actions, our non-actions, the things we've left undone, unsaid, the things we may have forgotten. But also, take this time to look at yourself in the mirror and think about you. We always think of the person that passed and others. Think about you. We don't know how much time we have left. We live in a crazy world. Tomorrow is guaranteed to no one. So take a look at you and make sure you take good care of you. Make sure you take good care of your heart, your soul, your spirit, your health. Because you are a sun, you are a star in many people's lives. So take great care of yourself so you can shine brightly. Shine on everyone around you that you love and that love you. Till next time.
On Sabanim's words, I invite you to stay for the 2 minutes photo slideshow to watch it again.
Speaking life to every heartbeat inside you, and may you grow in love as days go by. And what may come, we have you, we hold you, and we know you, so you can rest and know that you'll be fine. 'Cause your Father's love is strong here, existing and persisting, mystery of mine. Oh, little one, you don't know, you can't know the love here. We hoped and prayed that God would make you know. And in the hour of silence, we waited, we wanted, and now so close, and soon we'll bring you home.